Recognize the gentlelady from Ohio, Ms. Fudge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I'm really happy that we're having this kumbaya moment right now, that we are such a religious group. I, too, I am very religious. And I thank you for praying for the victims of the 18th school shooting this year. You know, the Bible tells us to watch as well as pray. So we should be knowing and talking about what is going on around us. The Bible tells us that we are our brother's keeper. The Bible tells us that we should take care of our children and what Jesus thinks about those who don't. You know, we talk about praying is enough. It is not enough. We talk about the mentally ill. There are mentally ill people in every industrialized nation in the world, and there is no other country that has these kinds of shooting. You know why? Because they do not have access to weapons of mass destruction by way of assault rifles, AR-15s, AK-47s. They don't have them. That is the difference. Yet, we talk about mental health as the problem, but we defund mental health treatment. We defund counselors in schools. So you can't have it both ways. Either you care about these kids or you do not. Praying doesn't make it any different. Dr. Andrews, we know that it's not always what happens in the world. We know sometimes it's about who it happens to. So I remember very clearly when we had a war on drugs and a just say no just because it was crack cocaine and it was affecting people in poor and minority and urban communities. Now we're all worried about opioids, which I am as well because it is ravaging my community, but because it is happening to rural communities and wealthier communities. We talk about it, but we don't put any money behind it. We say we want people to get better, but we won't pay to treat them. So please help me understand, what is it that we can do as a Congress to make this situation better?
Absolutely, thank you for the question. I think that one of the things that we learned from the crack cocaine epidemic and the war on drugs was that a strong law enforcement approach that does not also take seriously the importance of a public health perspective and the need for treatment is not successful. And it resulted in mass incarceration of many individuals in urban and largely African-American communities, and that resulted in devastating impacts for their children, their families, and their communities. And those are mistakes that we must not repeat. And I think that one of the things that is going to be most important moving forward is to reduce the stigma around opioid use and to connect people to treatment and to provide the resources that we need in order to do that successfully. And while I am very grateful for the funding that Congress has allocated through both the Cures Act as well as the recent budget agreement, addiction is a disease that is chronic in nature, and that once somebody has the disease of addiction, they will have to receive services to maintain their well-being for the rest of their lives. And so short-term funding initiatives that last 1 or 2 or 3 years will not address the problem in the long term. Insurance coverage to enable people to stay well is going to be really key.
Okay, just quickly. Sure. Is it going to help us at all if we say to these drug companies, stop marketing opioids to doctors' offices and paying them to distribute them? A lot of our doctors' offices have become drug dealers. Am I right?
While this is somewhat out of my area of expertise, I have certainly kept up with the reports, and I think it has been a very problematic trend that these drugs have been marketed to physicians over a long period of time, indicating that they are a safe
Dr. Andrews, I'm sorry to interrupt you. My time is really going. So I think that we're going in the right direction. And I would just say to you that the next time somebody reports to you with an opioid problem, tell them that our prayers and our thoughts are with them. See if it heals them. I yield back.